The Treasure of the Forest, an adventure of friendship and perseverance. Once upon a time, in a magical forest far, far away, there lived a group of talking animals who loved to play and have fun. Among them were a mischievous monkey named Max, a wise old owl named Oliver, and a friendly bear named Benny.
One sunny day, Max came up with a brilliant idea. "Let's play a game," he exclaimed to his animal friends. "We'll hide some special treats around the forest, and whoever finds the most wins." Excited at the prospect of a fun adventure, the animals quickly agreed to Max's game. However, as they began to search for the hidden treats, they soon realized that there was something strange happening in the forest.
The trees, which had always been straight and tall, were now crooked and bent. The once flowing river had turned murky and still, and the animals could hear strange noises coming from deep within the forest.
Undeterred, the group continued their search for the hidden treats. But as they went deeper into the forest, they began to encounter even more unexpected surprises and twists that threatened to derail their fun adventure. Will the animals be able to solve the mystery of the strange happenings in the forest and find the hidden treats? Join Max, Oliver, and Benny on their wild and exciting journey to find out. As the animals searched for the hidden treats, they came across a clearing in the forest where they saw a group of rabbits huddled together, looking scared and anxious.
Curious, Max approached them and asked, "What's wrong, little bunnies? Why are you all huddled up like that?" The rabbits shivered and pointed to a dark corner of the clearing, where they saw a large and fierce-looking wolf, who was growling and snarling at them.
Max realized that the wolf was the reason behind the strange happenings in the forest. He quickly sprang into action and, with the help of his friends, scared off the wolf and chased it away.
The grateful rabbits thanked Max and his friends and, as a reward, gave them clues to the locations of the hidden treats. The animals followed the clues and found the treats, which were delicious and very special indeed.
As they enjoyed their treats, they realized that their adventure had turned out to be even more exciting and unexpected than they had ever imagined. They had overcome their fears, solved a mystery, and made some new friends along the way. Excited by their success, the animals decided to explore more of the forest and go on even more adventures together. With Max leading the way, they knew that there was no limit to the fun and excitement they could have in their magical forest home. As the animals continued to explore the forest, they came across a babbling brook. They were all thirsty, so they stopped to take a drink from the cool, refreshing water. As they drank, they heard a faint cry for help coming from upstream. Without hesitation, Max and his friends followed the sound and soon came across a little fish, who was struggling to swim against the current. The fish explained that he had been swept downstream by the strong current and was now stranded in the shallow waters.
Max, being the mischievous monkey that he was, came up with a plan to rescue the fish. He enlisted the help of Benny, the friendly bear, who used his strong arms to create a makeshift dam, which slowed down the current and allowed the fish to swim back to safety. The grateful fish thanked Max and Benny and, as a token of his appreciation, gave them a map that led to a hidden treasure trove deep in the forest. The animals were thrilled at the prospect of finding the treasure and set off on their adventure once again. As they followed the map, they encountered several obstacles and challenges, including a raging river and a steep cliff. But with teamwork and determination, they were able to overcome each obstacle and finally arrived at the treasure trove. The treasure was beyond their wildest dreams. It was a collection of precious stones, glittering jewels, and sparkling gold. The animals were amazed and grateful to the little fish for leading them to such an incredible discovery. With the treasure safely in their possession, the animals realized that they had truly experienced an adventure of a lifetime. They decided to share the treasure among themselves, and they each took home a precious jewel or stone to remind them of their unforgettable journey. As the animals made their way back through the forest, they noticed that the sky was starting to turn dark. They realized that they had been on their adventure for much longer than they had anticipated and that it was time to head back to their homes before it got too late. However, as they made their way through the forest, they heard a loud rumbling noise in the distance. They weren't sure what it was, but they knew that it couldn't be good. As they got closer, they realized that the noise was coming from a group of humans who were building a new road through the forest.
The animals were alarmed and knew that their home was in danger of being destroyed.
Max, being the clever monkey that he was, came up with a plan to stop the humans from building the road. He enlisted the help of his friends, and together they formed a blockade to stop the humans from moving forward.
The humans tried to push past the animals, but the animals stood their ground and refused to move. Eventually, the humans realized that they were no match for the determined animals and decided to abandon their plans to build the road. The animals cheered in triumph and realized that they had not only saved their home but also showed the power of working together. They returned to their homes, exhausted but happy, knowing that they had accomplished something truly remarkable. As they settled in for the night, they looked up at the starry sky and reflected on their exciting adventure. They knew that there would be many more adventures to come, but they were ready for anything, as long as they had each other. The next morning, the animals woke up to the sound of birds chirping and the sun shining through the trees. They knew that it was going to be another beautiful day in the forest, filled with new opportunities and adventures.
As they gathered together, they noticed that something was different. The forest looked brighter and more vibrant than ever before. The trees were greener, the flowers were more colorful, and the air was fresher.
Suddenly, they saw a little fairy fly by, leaving a trail of sparkles behind her. She introduced herself as Tilly, the forest fairy, and explained that she had used her magic to rejuvenate the forest and make it even more beautiful than before.
The animals were amazed and grateful to Tilly for her kindness. They realized that they had made new friends not only among themselves but also among the magical creatures of the forest. Tilly invited the animals to a grand feast to celebrate the new life in the forest, and they gladly accepted. As they enjoyed the delicious food and drinks, they laughed and told stories of their adventures, realizing that they had become a close-knit family. As the night wore on, Tilly announced that she had a surprise for the animals. She had created a special portal that would take them to a different part of the forest, where they could have even more exciting adventures.
The animals were thrilled at the prospect of exploring new areas of the forest and eagerly followed Tilly through the portal.
Little did they know that the adventure that awaited them was going to be their most thrilling one yet.
As the animals emerged from the portal, they found themselves in a part of the forest that was completely different from the one they knew. The trees were taller, the flowers were more exotic, and the animals were unlike any they had ever seen before.
Max and his friends were excited to explore this new area and began to trek deeper into the forest. But as they went further, they began to realize that they were lost.
The animals had never been in this part of the forest before, and the dense vegetation made it difficult to see where they were going. They were worried that they would never find their way back home. But just as they were about to give up hope, they heard a faint voice calling out to them. It was a wise old owl, who offered to guide them back home. The owl explained that he knew the forest like the back of his wing, and he could show them a way back to their homes. The animals were grateful for the owl's help and followed him closely.
As they walked through the forest, the owl shared stories about his adventures and experiences in the forest, and the animals listened intently, fascinated by his wisdom and knowledge.
Eventually, after much walking, they reached the edge of the forest and saw their homes in the distance. The animals were relieved and thanked the owl for his help. But before they could say goodbye, the owl revealed a surprising secret. He had known about the hidden treasure trove all along and had been waiting for the right animals to discover it.
The animals were shocked and amazed that the wise old owl had known about the treasure all along. But they were grateful for his help and his guidance, and they realized that they had made yet another friend in the forest.
As they said goodbye to the owl and headed back to their homes, they knew that they had experienced another incredible adventure in the magical forest. And they couldn't wait to see what other surprises lay in store for them. The animals returned to their homes, tired but happy after their exciting adventure. As they settled in for the night, they couldn't help but think about the wise old owl's secret treasure trove. They knew that they had to go back and explore the area where the treasure was hidden. So, the next day, they set out on another adventure, determined to find the treasure and uncover its secrets. As they made their way through the forest, they searched high and low for any clues that might lead them to the treasure. They searched under rocks, climbed trees, and swam in the river, but they couldn't find anything. Just when they were about to give up, they heard a soft whisper coming from the bushes. It was a mischievous little fox who offered to help them find the treasure.
The fox explained that he had seen the treasure and knew exactly where it was hidden. The animals were skeptical at first, but the fox convinced them to follow him. The fox led them through a maze of twists and turns, taking them deeper into the forest. They walked for what seemed like hours until they finally arrived at a clearing. In the center of the clearing, there was a large tree with a hollow trunk.
The fox explained that the treasure was hidden inside the hollow trunk of the tree. The animals were excited and couldn't wait to see what was inside. As they opened the trunk, they found an old map and a note that read, "Follow the map to find the treasure of the forest." The animals were excited and followed the map carefully, navigating through the forest until they finally arrived at a small cave. Inside the cave, they found a treasure trove filled with gold coins, jewels, and other precious items. The animals were thrilled and couldn't believe their luck. They had found the treasure of the forest, and it was all thanks to their new friend, the mischievous little fox.
As they celebrated their newfound treasure, they realized that they had made many new friends in the forest, and they knew that their adventures were far from over. They couldn't wait to see what other surprises and treasures lay ahead.
The animals decided to share the treasure and use it to improve their community. They invested in building new homes for their families and creating a better infrastructure for their society. With the newfound wealth, they were able to host festivals and events that brought all the animals in the forest together. The mischievous little fox and the wise old owl became regulars at these gatherings, and they quickly became an integral part of the animal community. As the animals continued to explore the forest and make new friends, they learned important lessons about the value of teamwork, perseverance, and kindness. They also discovered that sometimes the greatest treasures in life are the friendships and memories that they create along the way. Years went by, and the animals grew old, but their friendship remained as strong as ever. They would often gather by the riverbank and share stories about their adventures in the forest, reminiscing about the twists and turns they had encountered along the way. As the sun set over the forest and the stars twinkled in the sky, the animals knew that they had truly found the treasure of the forest. It wasn't just the wealth they had gained, but the bonds of friendship and the memories that they would cherish forever.
And with that, the animals settled in for the night, grateful for the adventure that had brought them together and excited for the new adventures that awaited them in the magical forest.
But as they rested, a sudden noise interrupted the peace of the forest. They looked up and saw a group of humans, armed with weapons and chainsaws, making their way through the forest. The animals panicked and didn't know what to do. They had never encountered humans before, and they didn't know what their intentions were. The wise old owl stepped forward and told the animals not to be afraid. He explained that the humans were not there to harm them, but to clear the forest for their own purposes. The animals were confused and didn't understand why the humans would want to destroy their home. The wise old owl explained that humans often only see the forest as a resource to be exploited, and they don't understand the value of nature and the animals that call it home.
The animals knew that they had to do something to protect their home and the forest. They decided to use the treasure they had found to buy the land from the humans and preserve it as a protected area.
It wasn't an easy task, but the animals worked together and used their wit and determination to negotiate with the humans. Eventually, they were able to buy the land and create a sanctuary for all the animals in the forest. The humans were surprised by the animals' efforts and their willingness to work together to protect the forest. They agreed to work with the animals and help them maintain the sanctuary, ensuring that the forest and its inhabitants could thrive for generations to come. And so, the animals had not only found the treasure of the forest but had also discovered the importance of standing together to protect their home and the environment around them. They knew that they could face any challenge that came their way as long as they had each other and the determination to do what was right.
With the forest now protected and their community stronger than ever, the animals continued to live their lives in peace and harmony. They enjoyed the simple pleasures of life, like basking in the sun, exploring the forest, and spending time with their friends.
And as the years passed, new generations of animals were born, and they too learned the lessons of their elders. They grew up knowing the importance of working together and respecting the environment around them, and they took pride in being a part of such a special community.
The little fox, now grown up, looked back on his adventures and smiled. He knew that he had been a part of something truly special and that the treasure he had found had been much more than just a pile of gold.
It had been the friendships, the memories, and the lessons that he had learned along the way that had truly made it a treasure. And as he looked around at his friends and family, he knew that he had everything he needed right here in the forest. And so, the animals lived happily ever after, with the memory of their adventure and the treasure of their friendship forever etched in their hearts. And who knows what new adventures awaited them in the magical forest? For in this place, anything was possible, and anything could happen.
As the story comes to a close, we say goodnight to all the children listening. May your dreams be filled with magical adventures and wonderful friendships, just like the animals in the story. And remember, even when things get tough, with a little determination, teamwork, and kindness, anything is possible. So rest well, my little friends, and we'll see you again soon for another exciting adventure. Good night.